Disclaimer: I'm not promoting any kind of drug use. Use any drug with the instruction of your doctor. This is not medical advice. In 1994, an athletic man, we'll call him John, got into a car accident. He wasn't hurt, and x rays of his spine showed no fractures. But the doctors noticed something strange. His bones were extremely dense. John's radiologist sent him to Carl, the director of the Yale Bone Center. His bone density was about 8 times higher than normal for a man his age. Now, that might not have shocked John since he used to sink straight to the bottom whenever he tried to swim. Since John didn't seem sick, Carl let him go. 6 years later, Carl had him another family with the same rare bone condition. When he looked deeper, he realized they were related to John. Everyone in that family had super dense bones and wide and square jaws, but otherwise they looked normal. One family member, a doctor in Alabama, had trouble with hip replacements. Surgeons couldn't even screw the metal parts into his bones because they were too hard. Now, that kind of bone density could also be bad since you wouldn't even be able to have surgery with such dense bones. And you also might run into problems with blood cell production. But in this video, we will aim to achieve something close to that of John, if not 8 times. If not 8 times, we can aim for at least, let's say, 2 times as dense bones as him. Signal that someone has good hormonal balance, meaning strong fertility, vitality, and long-term survival potential. That's why even if people don't consciously notice bone density, they do notice the traits caused by it, like a strong jaw, wide shoulders. In ancestral times, having dense bones meant survival advantage. You could hunt, fight, and heal from injuries better. Those traits were naturally selected because they improved the odds of staying alive long enough to reproduce. Now that I've bone pilled you, let's get to hacking the science behind how dense we can get them. Now, testosterone plays a huge role in bone density in men. This whole process starts in your brain, not in your testicles. Now, testosterone converts to two things: dihydrotestosterone, aka DHT, and estradiol, aka estrogen. DHT and estrogen both have different jobs, but in short, DHT increases bone density, especially during puberty, and estrogen protects bone density from breaking down. Now, testosterone is going to be a building block for increasing bone density. Now, this isn't going to be one of those videos where they say eat well, sun your testes, and sleep well, and just like that, you'll cross 1000 in testosterone levels. That's just false. Natural options are very limited, but it's not impossible. But it can be done through major changes in your supplement and diet stack. But first, the natural pathway, then we will switch to a chemistry based pathway. First of all, if you're doing it naturally, 6 eggs a day is a must. That's the least amount of eggs you have to consume. I won't stack you a whole diet plan like red meat and this type of fish and that meat. I know most of you guys don't have that kind of budget, so to cut it short, 6 eggs a day is a must. Eggs have a good amount of healthy cholesterol, that too in cheap. That being said, you have to add 3 herbal supplements into your supplement stack: ginseng, specifically Asian red ginseng, tongat ali, black seeds minced and added on top of your eggs, and zinc. I think this approach combined with regular strength training and some amount of cardio will generate a really good results in terms of raising testosterone. Now we switch to a more medical way. Again, this is not a medical advice and it's just for research purposes. Clomid or clomiphene citrate is an oral medicine for females, for female fertility, but males it almost doubles testosterone. But before you take something like Clomid, I highly suggest taking a testosterone test to see what your levels of testosterone are. If they're above 500, you're safe. Next up, we have something called testosterone replacement therapy, which is more effective than taking Clomid. When you do something like testosterone replacement therapy, aka TRT, you inject exogenous testosterone into your body. Now you can take it in the form of pills or strips, but the bioavailability is extremely low as compared to injectable testosterone. So any other form of testosterone is just not worth it. Again, I do not condone randoms to just go to the medical store and buy vials of testosterone. Always first check your T levels before trying to inject it. Let's move on from the topic of testosterone for bone density. We will now study the Wolff's Law for increasing bone density and hardening the bone. You might have heard about the Wolff's Law in some hard maxing videos, but the implication is totally false that you can somehow apply the Wolff's Law to gain inches in your height. The truth is, Wolff's Law means that the more stress you put on your bone, the more they adapt and shape to it, growing the length of your bone. Wolff's Law perfectly defines adding bone density to your skeleton, though. In Thailand, they practice a martial art called Muay Thai. Muay Thai is very focused on kicks. To kick, you need stronger shin bones. Most Muay Thai fighters have developed shin bones stronger than thick wood, but it's never genetic. Here's what Muay Thai fighters' shin look like versus a normal shin bone. They perfectly apply Wolff Law onto their shins, also known as shin conditioning. They keep hitting the heavy bag with their shin, then they move on to lightly hitting their shin bone with a wooden boot. They do this almost every day and give it rest some days. This way, their bones become thick and can absorb harsh impacts easier than any other normal person would. So the principle is simple. The more force you put on your bone, the harder it becomes. In karate, the students always try to break wooden boards with their hand, not to show how tough they are, but to condition the bones in their arms. This applies to almost every major bone in your body. So that was it for today's video, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and peace.